Jeffrey Epstein said that he stopped hanging out with Donald Trump because Trump was too much of a, quote, crook, says Mark Epstein, his brother. Yep, we've got more in the Epstein saga, and it includes even more pieces of shit than you might think. My name is Cameron Kasky with Bulwark, and we're going to break it down for you. Trump had a breakup with Jeff Epstein. I know that Trump having a breakup, the way that's publicly hinted at, with a billionaire who's publicly associated with Ghislaine Maxwell might be confusing because that did also happen with Ghislaine Maxwell's friend Elon Musk. But in terms of piece of shit billionaires, you could just assume most of them are probably in leagues with Donald Trump. Jeffrey Epstein is no exception. But I don't think people understand the degree to which Epstein and Trump were connected. You know, we've seen some pictures of them. We've heard conversations. We've read Trump's gay letter to Epstein about how cute he is or whatever, that he's suing Rupert Murdoch for $1 trillion about. But their history is a lot deeper than we really give it credit for. And it's an important thing to note as we further explore the degree to which our president is probably a huge sex pedophile criminal. So Business Insider has reported that Epstein hinted at his falling out with Trump in an unaired interview. According to Jeff's brother, Mark Epstein, Trump and Epstein were friends for years, and the nature of their fallout remains kind of hazy. But again, Epstein's brother said it was because Trump was too big a crook. And it's like, imagine being too big a crook for Jeffrey Epstein. That is so weird. It's like when some crazy dictator country run by like a military maniac condemns the actions of another criminal military. It's like, okay, you know, North Korea said this was bad. Thanks, North Korea. That's how I feel about Epstein saying Trump's a crook. It's like, okay, yeah, the pot is in fact calling the kettle black. Mark Epstein told Insider he viewed a clip of an interview conducted by Mr. Steve Bannon, Trump's former White House advisor and one of the architects of this dark MAGA reality we live in, after Epstein forwarded his brother the interview in the spring of 2019. At the time, Bannon was conducting filmed interviews with the now deceased, as for how he's deceased, I suppose is this viewer's guess, Jeffrey Epstein. And Bannon was talking to the pedophile financier because, according to the brother, Bannon wanted to do a documentary to sort of like rehabilitate his image, because we had all known Epstein was a pedophile before shit really went down. Epstein had just gotten away with it. So there was apparently like a Dropbox with tons of footage. Mark Epstein says the link is no longer active. But Mark Epstein also said, Jeffrey showed me the link to one of these interviews. And in the interview, Jeffrey said he stopped hanging out with Trump when he realized Trump was a crook. Epstein and Trump were reportedly boys in the 80s up to the 2000s, which is obvious because they ran in the same elite Manhattan socialite circles. Epstein's house in Palm Beach was like a stone's throw away from Mar-a-Lago, where he was a frequent guest. And Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's accusers, has testified that his associate Ghislaine Maxwell first picked Virginia up at Mar-a-Lago when she was 16 years old before introducing her to Epstein. At Maxwell's criminal trial in 2021, one accuser testified that Maxwell introduced her to Trump at Mar-a-Lago when she was 14 years old. Other accusers says Maxwell and Epstein often name-dropped Trump. Also important for us to remember that RFK Jr. also had what he says, quote, a relationship with Maxwell. We don't really know what that relationship was, but RFK Jr. is part of this whole mix as well. And it's important that we don't let him off the hook for that. But again, the nature of the Epstein-Trump fallout remains hazy. It's not necessarily as big and boisterous as inflammatory as the Trump-Musk fallout. But Miami Herald reported Epstein was booted as a member of Mar-a-Lago in 2007 after he harassed the daughter of a member. Trump has publicly said very little about his relationship with Epstein, although when Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested, he said, for some fucking reason, I wish her well. It's like, what is the incentive to say that? Like, what would inspire? I know Trump is kind of crazy. Trump is very crazy, but going out and just saying, I wish her well. But again, it's not some like lefty lunatic conspiracy that is suggesting Trump and Epstein were in leagues with each other. And there's a report right now from 2019 that I want to take a look at that shows us some footage, gives us a couple of receipts. Let's have a look.
Video dating back more than 25 years is giving us a look at the relationship that once existed between President Trump and accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. And it's coming to light as Epstein's lawyers are offering an explanation for an item found by police in his Manhattan home that raised a lot of eyebrows. NBC's Stephanie Goss joins us with more. Steph, good morning.
Guys, good morning. President Trump says he knew Jeffrey Epstein, that he was part of the West Palm Beach set. In one interview, calling him a terrific guy. But more recently, Trump said the two had a falling out. This is video from 1992, both of them together at a party.
Come on in. Go inside.
An invitation into Donald Trump's world. Footage from 1992 found in the NBC archives shows the future president welcoming Jeffrey Epstein to his Mar-a-Lago estate. The get-together more than a decade before Epstein pleaded guilty to prostitution charges in Florida. Both men are seen enjoying themselves, Trump pointing out women dancing in front of them. An apparently friendly encounter with a man the president is now looking to distance himself from.
We knew about the Trump-Epstein stuff, but I just wanted to hold space for the truth that this was definitely like a real relationship. Trump's brother, Steve Bannon, went on to try and make this documentary to rehabilitate Epstein's image. Mark Epstein told Insider that Steve was working with Jeffrey to help Jeffrey fix up his reputation. And Bannon and Epstein had apparently become close in 2017, after Bannon had left the White House, according to the journalist Michael Wolff. Bannon was mooching off of Epstein's obviously vast fortune using his Paris apartment and butler in 2018. Yeah, wait. Oh my God. Bannon was using Epstein's butler. Sorry, it just now occurred to me how crazy that is. In 2018, Bannon was doing that sort of mooching off of Epstein. I think this is a thing with Bannon. I think Bannon is kind of a leech to like rich, crazy, MAGA conspiracy type people. I think they sort of take him in. I've heard certain things from certain people who are kind of on good authority saying that Bannon does that shit. But Bannon went on to release a trailer in 2021 for this apparent documentary about Epstein that was called, quote, The Monsters. The entire documentary has not yet been released, and I'm starting to think it probably never will be. The Manhattan DA's office has pending criminal charges against Bannon, alleging that he participated in a scam nonprofit organization that raised funds to build a wall on the U.S.-Mexico border. Trump obviously pardoned Bannon on the federal charges for the same scheme before he left office. But Bannon's lawyers in the federal case are suing him for allegedly not paying his bills. Bannon was found guilty last year of contempt of Congress for denying a House January 6th committee hearing subpoena. So, lot of characters here. Donald Trump, pedophile president, Jeffrey Epstein, pedophile who allegedly killed himself, Elon Musk, friend of Epstein's partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, who might blab and tell us some stuff we don't know, and Steve Bannon, one of the shitheads behind MAGA World, who I think a lot of people understand is largely responsible for the death of what was once a relatively robust democracy. But some people forget the sweaty, gross dude who doesn't know how to get a haircut and wears 3 shirts at a time. He layers his clothes like crazy. People are forgetting that. And I guess Bannon wanted to make a documentary to rehabilitate the image of Mr. Pedophile Island, Jeffrey Epstein, after Epstein had already gotten arrested for being a sex pervert. He just got away with it. Like Florida just kind of gave him this really generous plea deal, and that was that. But Epstein's dead, and Donald Trump's presidency is in rough waters. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson has tried to shut down the House so they don't have to vote on releasing the Epstein files. And we're just going to have to see how it plays out. But I can only hope that the people who are responsible for these crimes, including most likely Donald Trump, who the DOJ told was in the Epstein files back in May, hope everybody faces justice. I don't care if there were Democrats in the files. Like, people on the right talk about how, ooh, you're not going to like what happens when the Epstein files come out and some of your guys are on it. It's like, here's the difference. If the Epstein files came out and there were MAGA people on it, MAGA would say it was either doctored or fake or, ooh, we don't have any proof they really did anything, though. Whereas if a prominent Democrat was in the Epstein files, the Democratic Party would call for them to face justice. Like the MAGA and the Republican Party as a whole, which is the same thing now, they don't believe in accountability. But if we saw some high-profile Democrat in the Epstein files, everyone in the Democratic Party would be like, okay, well, they should go to prison for being a sex pervert. So let's not forget, there's one party that believes in accountability. There's one party that doesn't. Everybody with the Bulwark, my name is Cameron Kasky. Thanks for watching.